Hello everyone, it's Caroline or Miss B Overseas. Thanks so much for being here today. I really and truly do just love and appreciate every single one of you. So concept for today's video. One of my favorite types of videos to watch, not only on Booktube, but on YouTube in general, are reaction style videos, particularly when creators react to their past content. I just find something very meta about the whole process, and it's just always fun to watch people be humbled by what they said in the past. So when I was trying to think about what I wanted to read and what I wanted to put on my April TBR, I was really at a loss, not because I don't want to read anything, it's because I want to read everything and I just don't know the direction that I want to go in. At the same time, I was also just thinking about my channel in general. So I was looking back at previous videos that I have posted and I found this video called Authors That I Want to Read More From. It was one of the first videos that I ever posted on here. So it's from back in like August or September, and I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember the authors that I mentioned in this video. So I thought, you know what? Who better to pick my April TBR than myself just from a few months ago? So I thought that for today, we could watch this video together, or at least you could watch me watch myself list these authors that I, at least 5 or 6 months ago, 6 or 7 months ago, I don't know, wanted to read more from, and that's how I could pick my April TBR. I really don't want to put a whole lot of like conditions into this just because I don't want this to be stressful. One thing that I could do, I feel like I'm yelling. One thing that I could do, one thing that I always try to do when setting up my monthly TBRs is to intentionally include at least one middle grade, one young adult, and one adult. So I guess at the very minimum, what I could do when watching my past self is try to get at least all of those for my April TBR, because if I know my past self well enough, I would have picked authors that wrote across age ranges. Like I wouldn't have just talked about only adult authors or only young adult authors, but who knows, I could be setting myself up for failure with that, but that's gonna be the general goal. Okay, here we go. All right, hello, Caroline or Miss B Overseas. I respond to both. And as the title of this video suggests, today I'm going to be talking about some authors that I have read from previously that I enjoyed so much that I would like to read from them again. Look, we're both wearing the same earrings. How fun. The first author that I have read from previously that I would like to read more from is Jesmyn Ward. Now, I have read 2 of Jesmyn Ward's work. Okay, yeah, Jesmyn Ward. I definitely still want to read more from Jesmyn Ward. Let's keep watching to see what else I have to say. The full-length novel that I have read from Jesmyn Ward, I actually read quite a bit ago. It was probably 2 years ago, and that was Sing Unburied Sing. Now, when I was doing research for this video, aka I was on Goodreads, it showed that Sing Unburied Sing was actually a part of a series. The 2 other books in the series were Salvage the Bones and Where the Line Bleeds, I believe. Now, I don't know if this is a series that you need to read it in a particular order or... Okay, so I still don't have the answer to that question, but this will definitely work for my adult pick. I would love to read more from Jesmyn Ward. I loved Salvage the Bones so much. I'm hoping that it's a series that doesn't necessarily have to be read in order, or at least doesn't follow the same characters, almost like they can be read independently from one another. Where the Line Bleeds and Salvage the Bones. Excellent. So 2 potential. I don't think that I'm gonna read both, but I can do more research after this video and pick which one that I can actually use. The second author on this list for me is Fredrik Backman. Earlier this year, I read Beartown, which is still to this day my favorite book of 2020. It was your favorite book of 2020. Beartown was my favorite book of 2020. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I definitely still want to read more Fredrik Backman. At this point, when I filmed this video, I had read Beartown and Us Against You. So I think that I know which book I say that I want to read from him next, but let's just go ahead and see if I am correct about what this Caroline is gonna say. Are A Man Called Uva and a title that is really long, and I know I'm gonna get wrong, but it's something like my grandmother asked me to tell you I'm sorry, or something like that. And reading through the synopsis of those two books, it's just not something that personally really interests me. However, I do believe that he just has a brand new release, and this synopsis really intrigued me. It's called Anxious People. Yes, okay, perfect. Oh my gosh, okay, I have been wanting to read Anxious People ever since it got released, which I don't remember when it was. I'm assuming that it was around the time I posted this video, but oh my gosh, I have to include this on my April TBR. I'm so excited about it, and I've been looking for an excuse to read it. So this is my excuse, right? So now I have 2 adult picks for my April TBR. We're really just stacking up a lot quicker than I thought we would, but yes, okay, I'm so excited. This is a book that centers around a bank robbery gone wrong. I believe that there is a person that tries to hold up a bank, and he runs away from this situation and ends up holding a bunch of strangers hostage that are at like an apartment viewing for an open house. And so I'm sure that we're going to get a deep dive look at how all of these strangers' lives intersect and interweave because of this very kind of like traumatic and harrowing circumstance. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm so excited. What am I going to pick for myself next? Next author on this list is an author that I have only read one of their works. I read it earlier this year, but just from reading that one book from them, I know that I need to read more, and that author is Jasmine Warga. The book that I read earlier this year was Other Words for Home. Immediately upon completing this book. Okay, so this is really just me. Do I only talk about like the same 5 books on my channel? I feel like between Beartown and Other Words for Home, I bring them up in every single video, but this was, I think, my second favorite book of 2020. I loved it so desperately. Jasmine Warga has a new middle grade release, and I am almost positive that it comes out in April. So that could be my middle grade pick for the month of April, and I'm so excited because I think it's called The Shape of Thunder, and it's definitely one of my most anticipated books for 2021. Couldn't tell you anything about it. The only reason that it's my most anticipated is just because of how desperately I loved Other Words for Home. I don't know, but I think it just focuses on the relationship between these 2 middle grade aged girls. So that's 3 books now on my April TBR. Oh my gosh, okay, this just, I'm loving past Caroline. The fourth, I think, author that I really want to read more of, in fact, I want to read everything that they have out at the moment, is Emily Henry. I have read 2 out of what I believe is 4 of Emily Henry's full-length novels. Okay, so Emily Henry, I have not thought about Emily Henry in a hot minute, but I have read, like you just heard, I have read 2 of her young adult books, and I really, really loved them. I know that she has 2 other books that are released right now. One of them is Beach Read, which I think maybe at the time of this, I said that I was interested in it. I'm not interested in reading it right now. I already have 2 adult picks for the month of April. However, I've never read Emily Henry's debut novel. I think it's called The Love That Split the World, and I don't think I have a young adult pick yet. So what a better time than the month of April. Again, I don't really know what this book is about. I'm assuming that it's going to follow a similar vein to her other 2 young adult books, so kind of speculative, otherworldly elements in a contemporary setting with a kind of romance at their center. That's 4 books now that I'm going to read in the month of April. I could just stop right now, but I really wanna see what past Caroline has in store for present Caroline. Next author that I want to read more from is Akwaeke Emezi. I read their debut novel Freshwater earlier this year, and immediately upon completing that, okay, I am just really having a great time here. So I can already tell you what I'm gonna say in this video, because I think at this point I had read Freshwater and The Death of Vivek OG, which both I loved. I'm constantly forgetting that Akwaeke Emezi has a middle grade called Pet, and I really, really wanna read it. I think this centers around monsters, and it takes place in a world that is much like our own, except that monsters used to exist and now they're no longer around. I think it focuses on a girl who encounters a monster after having been told that they don't exist any longer, and either she makes friends with this monster or she ends up protecting this monster. I already have a middle grade, but this would be a really great other middle grade. So right now I think I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books for the month of April, and 5 is usually my typical TBR count that I can manage per month, but the video is close to being over, so we'll see. Maybe I can add 1 or 2 more onto my April TBR. The final author that I hope to read more from in the very near future is actually an author that's fairly new to me, and there is one book of theirs that I am particularly interested in, and that author is Kiese Laymon. I was actually first introduced to Laymon's writing while reading The Fire This Time by Jesmyn Ward. Okay, so actually funny story that I don't even know if it is relevant to this video, but I'm gonna tell it anyways. So I'm still really interested in reading Kiese Laymon, and I can already tell you that the book that I mentioned in that video is most likely Long Division, which was a book that I had planned, I think, for my February TBR, and I basically discovered that it's almost impossible to get a copy of this book. I don't know if they let it go out of print or something like that, but I did discover that they are going to be re-releasing it, but that re-release doesn't happen until June, and I cannot find a copy of Long Division anywhere that's easily accessible. Long Division is a book that is going to get read by the end of this year. It's just not one that I can see myself actually being able to get a hold of until the re-release in June. Okay, so what did we even end up at? I should have been writing all of this down while I did it. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, so the 5 books that I will be reading in April that my past self picked for me are either Salvage the Bones or Where the Line Bleeds by Jesmyn Ward, Anxious People by Fredrik Backman, eventually The Shape of Thunder by Jasmine Warga. I need to check the release date. I'm fairly certain that it comes out in April, so if I can get my hands on a copy of it, I will definitely be reading it this month. The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry, and Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. I really could not be more thrilled with this TBR. Like, this is a TBR that current me is very excited about, and I could not have done on my own. So thank you so much to the help of my past self. I already know that this video is going to be kind of a nightmare to edit, so I apologize if for any reason the past video footage and the current video footage doesn't match up. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this. I actually had a lot better of a time than I thought I was going to have watching my past self. And as I said before, I'm very pleased with the end result. I have a solid killer fire TBR for the month of April. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.